Hello everybody, this is John Hardy back with you with the business tip of the day, direction. It's always interesting that we are always in some way going in a direction of some kind or another. Sometimes the tail wags the dog and we get directed by other external forces, or we're actually in charge of what's going on and we're leading fairly clearly and fairly strongly in the direction that we actually want to go in our business and in our leadership. And I'm wanting to ask you the question, what happens when you actually want to change direction? You know, I'm regularly driving in my car and road conditions change. And there can be a work on a freeway and there's 60-kilometer signs up, and we generally travel at about 100 kilometers here in Australia. And we have to slow down quickly because it's really important to keep our road workers safe and keep a safe environment for them as they do the work to help us move from point A to point B. But when we want to change direction, there is a fair amount of effort that actually needs to be put in. And I want to encourage you as a business owner, business operator, when you are thinking about how do I manage the change of direction? And the challenge, firstly, really sits strongly and squarely on your own shoulders. Unless you understand what it is that you are wanting to do, what you are about, and you've clearly articulated that in your own mind, in your own thought process, in your own planning, in your strategic thinking, and potentially rewriting maybe your mission statement or your vision statement or your strategic implementation of where you want to go next. And you've anticipated the questions that you are going to be asked when you enter change without doing that preparation beforehand, you will get to the situation where the tail is wagging the dog, where other people's agendas will begin to impact your agenda. And you'll think, oh, that's a good idea, we should do that, because you are not firm and convinced in your own mind and in your own thinking about where you actually want to move next. That might be moving location of where your offices are. It might be moving the responsibilities that people have within your organization, where you might want to reposition them. They might be being moved sideways. They might be being demoted. They might be being promoted. Or you might be actually asking them to exit out of the relationship with your company. So that's fairly big areas. It might be that you want to take on a new product. You might want to find new suppliers, etc. So there's lots of changes that can happen on a continual basis. And for what I do with my clients, I ask them to do this. I ask them to have at least once a week or once a fortnight a strategic thinking time where they set aside and they're away from the distractions of email, from telephones, from staff, from all those kinds of influences, and find a quiet space where I really encourage them to get a physical journal, a physical pen, and to sit there and do real thinking, real live time thinking, strategic thinking, and recording what is actually going on in their world and preempting the various dynamics of change that the business needs to engage with at multiple levels. You know, from your senior management to a new person coming in as a brand new client into your business, or a new product, or a new employee, thinking through all those dynamics, because change is coming to us, and sometimes it comes at a rapid speed. And one of the big changes that we've got to wrestle with right now in our own businesses is cybersecurity, because change is happening rapidly, and we're kind of a little bit behind the eight ball as far as managing that. And we need to do some research. We need to talk to the right kind of cyber people who understand that world. And there's some really interesting and innovative products out there to protect us and help us with great encryption to protect particularly our finances. So I'm just wondering what you're doing in the whole thing of direction and how you're actually managing it. So are you giving yourself time? Are you setting away strategic time to think? Are you actually journaling that information, gathering your thoughts, processing yourself through those thoughts on a regular basis? Because if you don't, the tail will wag the dog. somebody in your business, because this is what happens, is you vacate your responsibility to lead, somebody else will come, some influence will come, some thought will come, some impression, some activity will garnish into your world and lead and direct what should be taking place. And then you'll be down the track 6 months and wonder, why are we here? How did we end up here? What are we doing this? Why did that process get implemented? Is because you're not in charge. And as business owners, entrepreneurs, senior management, it is your responsibility to understand and know and be across the various dynamics of change that's taking place in your world. And so you need to know that, understand that, and be that person that is in charge by spending the time thinking strategically about managing change of direction in your world and in your space. This is John Hardy bringing the business tip of the day for you, direction.